She is a distinguished leader and educator with a wealth of experience in community engagement, education, and organizational management. Currently, she serves as the County Director for the University of Illinois Extension in Livingston, McLean, and Woodford counties. In this role, she oversees a team of 26 staff members, manages a $1.9 million annual budget, and leads numerous initiatives that promote diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. Katie's career is marked by her dedication to youth development and education. As a 4-H youth development educator, she has developed and delivered impactful programs that have reached thousands of young people. Her innovative approach to teaching and her commitment to fostering community relationships has earned her numerous accolades, including the Illinois Ag and the Classroom Teacher of the Year Award. With a Master of Social Work and a Bachelor of Science in Education from Illinois State University, Katie is also a lifelong learner who continuously seeks to enhance her skills and knowledge. She has presented at national conferences sharing her expertise on topics ranging from STEM education to agricultural innovation. Katie's passion for education, her leadership skills, and her commitment to community service make her an inspiring speaker. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Is this too loud? Too loud? Is it perfect? Okay. Because it sounds really loud to me. I'm so excited to be here today. I would venture to say that Bloomington Public Library is the happiest place on earth. Some of you may recognize me. This is usually a stop we make after the Saturday farmers market in downtown Bloomington. That's how I get my kids to come with me, is I say we'll go to the market and then I'll bring you to the library. So I really appreciate all the work that you all do, and I hope that what you get out of this presentation, I'm going to preface, am I an expert? No. But I have a lot of experience working in a variety of settings. While education is the majority of my background, I also have almost 25 years in hospitality. So I work for a local hotel on the side. It's my fun job, as I like to say, that I don't have a whole lot of responsibility. I just get to talk to people. So before I get deep into the presentation, I want to give you a little bit of background about Extension and what Extension is and what Extension does. I should have probably done a little poll me. Does anybody know Extension? Okay, so do we know Extension for 4-H? Master Gardeners, Master Naturalists. So those are 3 really big programs that have a huge impact on our community. But we also offer, so I have 8 educators within the McLean County Extension Office. I have local food, small farm, horticulture, and natural resources, energy, and environment. They make up our ag and natural resources team. I have a 4-H youth development educator that is in the McLean office that does programming throughout the county, as well as I used to have an educator at Unity Community Center, but I have other staff there, so that's another program that we host. I have nutrition and wellness, family life, and SNAP Ed, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps, but they provide the education to those benefit eligible community members. So that's just kind of our organization in a nutshell. If anybody has any questions about programming, we host things in libraries across the county. I know we've done some programs here at community centers, wherever we can get in, we love to do programming. So if you have an interest in any of those areas, let me know and we can get you connected. But we're going to go ahead and get started, because I'm going to get you guys out of here on time, because I have a feeling that I'm the last person. So we're just a little bit of an overview. We're going to talk about the importance of an internal customer service. We're going to talk about mission, vision, and values. In my organization, we've been talking about it a lot because we're going through a strategic plan. And some of it for us, because we're sitting locally and then we've got the university that we're connected to, feels kind of distant. So I want to talk a little bit about that. We're going to do an activity on generations. Starting to do a lot of research on generations, and specifically generations in the workforce, and how we work together and interact, because that will play a huge role in our internal customer service. We're going to talk about strategies for effective internal customer service. We're going to do an activity on departments. I'm going to preface this. It was a little hard to discern on your website what all the departments are. So if I left your department off the list, we'll write it in. And then we're going to wrap up. So, oh, it's because I'm not connected to the internet.
Yeah, I can fix that.
So I hope everybody was able to grab some candy over there. That's my bribery to you all to stick with me for this hour and a half. I try to get a wide selection. I used to stand, especially when I'm with my county director colleagues, I'm the one that brings candy to the meetings, but I would stand at Target and I would look at the candy and I'm like, what does everybody want? So I did a survey for all my county directors and I'm like, what's your favorite candy? So anytime they come to a meeting, they at least have a piece of their favorite candy. So, it worked in my office, guys. Oh, speaking. Okay, so if you have a device and want to take a poll, how familiar are you with the concept of internal customer service? Very familiar, somewhat familiar, or not familiar at all? And this is anonymous. And we're going to sit here in awkward silence until I see 75. No. This is the first time I've used this in a presentation. I was pretty bummed that I found it, because a lot of them limit you to how many people you can have respond, and this had 100 respondents, so hopefully everybody will get a chance. Yeah, and feel free to get up. We're all adults here. If you need to stand in the back because you've been sitting all day, or you just want to stand in the back, I won't point you out or anything like that. If you need to use the restroom. I don't think you guys another minute, two. All right. We good? Someone try to answer anything? Okay. All right. I borrowed this from a coworker today. They even changed the batteries to make sure it works. So, external customer service, which is probably something we're all really familiar with, right? Is looking at clients, the people you serve, the people that come in and out of the library that don't work here. I guess they could work here and be here as a patron of the library, but most time the general public is what we like to think of. So the purpose is you want to provide a great experience for those customers. Whether that's helping them find books if you're working in circulation or one of those departments, the children's or adult services. Maybe somebody might need some help with some computer technology. So you just want to make sure that you're interacting in a positive way. And then handling inquiries and complaints. Who likes dealing with conflict? That's awesome. You want to come work for me? It's not that I can't handle conflict, it's just not my favorite thing to do. So I'll do everything in my power to make sure that everything works as smoothly, but unfortunately I don't have a magic wand to avoid conflict. So let's take a look at internal customer service. So those are going to be your employees and the departments that are within the library. We're going to support and assist each other. And we're going to talk about this more as we go along about what we can do to really build relationships inside the building. And then just an example is IT helping. Do you have, how many's on your IT team? 7? Okay, so you have a good amount of people that can help support the IT. I know the library has evolved, especially from when I was a kid, with just the card catalog, now that we can hop on a computer and search books and things like that. So just making sure that we're being helpful wherever. So what are the important parts of internal customer service? So again, talking about that organizational component. And then the benefits of teamwork and collaboration. And I think what we're going to spend a lot of time on today, especially in our activities, are looking at how we can connect better. I understand that departments work somewhat in a silo setting, or some departments may work closer with other departments than maybe some of the others. So making sure that we're making that connection across. But it also leads to a good external customer service when everything internally is running as it should. So I do have some quotes throughout here. I don't have any Maya Angelou books up here, but I have other books that I'll pull some quotes for. So at the end, if you want to take a look at what I like to read as far as working with teams and working with groups, because essentially that's what internal customer service is, right? It's that dynamic of working together in groups. But people may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And I think that's really impactful to always remember, even when you have to have some hard conversations with a colleague or maybe give some feedback that may not be perceived as positive. If you can do it in a way that's going to make somebody feel good, it's going to go over a lot easier. I feel like I should be in a Zoom call where you don't have control over your presentation, but you say, next. So let's take a look at your mission, vision, and values. Are you all familiar with this? I pulled these off the internet. Are they posted anywhere in the library? In your office? Anywhere publicly? Okay, all right. I just was curious. I just got posters for my office, but we just redid our mission, vision, and values, so we did before that. But provide our diverse community with a helpful, welcoming place that offers equitable access to the world of ideas and information and supports lifelong learning. Man, isn't that a great place to work, right? And so, I think that really encompasses, what the library is really about. Providing that opportunity for community members to come in here and learn and grow and really enjoy what the library has to offer. So our vision is to enrich and inspire diverse and evolving community. I mean, communities evolve and change over time consistently. And so can anybody tell me when these new mission, vision, and values came about? Anybody remember when it was revisited last couple years? So probably within the next few years, probably 3 to 5 years, I'm sure you guys will look at those again and determine, is this still where we're going? Is this where we're at? Or do we need to take a look and see what's changed? And finally, the values. That equity and inclusion piece is so critical. You want to make sure that not only is the library inviting with what you have here, but the physical space. And man, you guys knocked it out of the park with this upgrade that you did to the building. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And I like to research when I come in and talk to groups like this. I think ILA had you listed as one of the best libraries in the state. I mean, which is incredible. I mean, Bloomington-Normal is a pretty large community, Bloomington specifically, but you think of Like you think of the suburbs and you think of those places with those large tax bases that get a lot of money that support libraries like this. And it was mentioned that Bloomington is one of the best in the state, so definitely something to be proud of as well. And that lifelong learning and that community engagement piece. I got a notification on Facebook that there was a new program being offered at the library coming up soon. I can't remember what it was, but I saw like a sketching image. So, you know, making sure that people know what you have to offer and what's going on here as well. Do you offer a newsletter? Do you? Okay, the only reason why I ask is I get a lot of notifications when I play books. And I was like, I haven't seen an email about like programming or anything like that. So I was just curious. That was just for me.
Yeah, we do. We have a program guide.
Does it get emailed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look and see if someone's
That wasn't a call. It was just curiosity. Like I said, I get a lot of late email notices, and I'm always like, guys, you gotta get your books back to the library. Okay, so I got a short little video, and this is like two and a half minutes. I try to keep my videos short from when I'm in the classroom so I don't lose people. But I like videos because it kind of switches up and you don't have to listen to me. Oh, are we gonna have sound? Sound gonna come?
We should.
Okay.
If your speaker is on the right one.
Okay. So it's coming out of the HDMI.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna, we'll just see.
Yeah, we'll just see.
We'll just see.
We'll just see.
I have a tendency to mute because my.
It's not muted right now.
No. No.
So far not?
No. It's a really good video too.
Okay. We'll make it happen.
Okay.
Oh, it's muted over here.
Oh.
Well,
No. Yeah, we'll let.
I'm trying to, I'm not good with mouse pads or track pads. Go back to where you were. Here? No.
Oh, it is muted. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Oh, it's gonna be real loud.
There we go. I don't know if it's loud enough.
Oh, sorry. We're gonna start. I'm gonna make it big screen. Okay. Tell you how to present it in a while, guys. I've been out in the educator field for a hot minute. I did get a video embedded though. Is that loud enough or need to louder?
Maybe it's quiet now.
Did you ever stop to think about why your organization recruited, hired, and pays you? What value do you add? What's the reason your job and your department exist? Or the reason you and your coworkers are part of your team is because you contribute to the organization's overall purpose for existing. And when you break things down, there are really only two types of positions at most organizations. Either you directly serve your organization's customers, or you support someone who does. And sadly, not everyone has that vision. Excuse me,
Yeah?
how would you describe what you're doing?
See this broom? See this pile of dirt? Just sweeping the floor.
Well, that's technically accurate, isn't it? Just sweeping the floor. Many people might offer a similar response describing their positions, but there's another way to look at things. In the early days of the space program, the story is told about a space agency team member who had a clear understanding of the mission of his organization and, equally important, understood his relationship to that mission. And as with the last example, he was also a maintenance person cleaning up. Excuse me,
Yes?
how would you describe what you're doing?
Well, I'm helping to put a man on the moon.
That was a great answer and a positive attitude. This team member understood his role and how his efforts contributed to the mission of the organization. Let's see how that same attitude might apply to an organization like yours.
Our department head asked each of us to describe our positions. Not just the day-to-day stuff, but the big picture view. You know, how we contribute to our organization's mission. My answer? I said, I help our sales team generate more revenue by maintaining an accurate database that helps them contact more prospects.
In a large organization, it's easy to lose sight of the big picture. But we need to keep in mind how our role, our team, and our department contributes to the entire organization's success. We're all part of the whole organization's effort. Be sure you're never just sweeping the floor. Understand the mission of your organization and know your role as it relates to that overall purpose.
So that was a Vince Lombardi quote that you couldn't see because he had some weird images there. But the achievements of an organization are the results of the combined effort of each individual. So know that you matter. And that, I know we all kind of chuckled at the maintenance guy at NASA, but that's a true story. I actually believe I just read it in Leaders Eat Last. And so when I came across that video, I'm like, this is perfect, because I remember hearing that story and it was really impactful. Because I have people on my team that say, I'm just a program coordinator, or I'm just office support staff, and everybody plays a vital role in that. At the beginning of the video, it talks about how you were selected to be in the position that you're at in your job, thinking of the library. I joke when people ask me about my position, because I started as an educator and then I became leadership and administration. I just tell everybody I drew straw. And my boss gets really upset with me when I say that, but because I am joking, but sometimes she doesn't find humor in it. So just again, things to think about. So we're gonna look at applying the mission, vision, and values. I pulled this from your website and I was looking at it and I'm like, gosh, I don't think that's what the library looks like. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what it used to look like. So I maybe get a kick out of that. I borrowed it, I didn't steal it. So taking that mission and vision and values as it relates to more of that external component and looking at the internal side, making sure that staff has access to resources and support in their roles. Today is a very good example about how the library meets that mission. Foster an inspiring, enriching work environment. I don't get to necessarily see the backside of the library and how it works, but I would venture to guess that there are some opportunities where you can do things. I heard there was a talent show during your day where people could show off their talents. How cool is that to have that opportunity to kind of see a different side of maybe one of your coworkers too, and find out what they're passionate about. And finally, promote equity, inclusion, and a continuous learning amongst staff. Again, this day is a great reminder of that, but thinking outside of today and what else happens throughout the year at the library. Okay, so we're gonna try this. I like to read, and I'm also a music lover. So we're gonna do an activity. We're not gonna talk about generations quite yet. So we're gonna do an activity. I'm gonna play some music. It is called Leadership and Resilience Playlist on my Spotify account. I would be more than happy to share it with you. Try to get a good variety of songs. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this generational activity. Has anybody heard of Training Wheels? Maxwell Leadership. Gosh, good. You guys are in for a treat. So what? Oh, they did not put these back in order. After I use this with the county director's schedule. That's right. Whoa, they work. So what there are cards, and I think I have enough for each person. If I don't, you may have to pair up. What you're gonna do is you're gonna read your card, kind of think about your response, and then you're gonna pair up with somebody else, and then you're gonna talk about it. I will give you the choice. There's intergenerational. There are our Gen Zers, and it'll tell you the years that it covers. We've got our Gen Ys or millennials, our Gen Xers, our boomers, and our builders. So you can choose either the generation you identify with, the generation based on your age, or whatever you feel most comfortable with. So go ahead and you can come up here and grab a card.
See what Zoomer thinks they got. I have to go put my head in your shot.
Sorry. Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, so there is some discrepancy in, And I'm going to preface as we start to talk about generations and generational differences. Sometimes I feel like when we talk about this, we're stereotyping, and that is not my intent at all. We're just talking about traits and characteristics. You may have the characteristics and traits of the generation you identify with, or you may not, and that's okay. But I just sometimes feel like, especially in today's society, when we talk about generations, it's sometimes used in a derogatory way, and I don't want anybody to feel like that we're just having a general discussion to better understand. So what you're going to do is, you're going to read your card, and then you're going to find somebody, and then you're going to talk about your responses to the card. So the first round is going to be a little intense, because you're going to kind of talk about how you answered your question, and then the person you're going to meet up with is going to talk about how they answered their question, and then you're going to answer each other's questions. After that, you're just going to answer the opposite question. Does that make sense? So you don't have to keep talking about the same thing over and over again about your card.
So we answer their card?
Yes. Once you get past the first round.
Okay.
Okay? Ready? Set, go.
She also drives start that way. But yeah, no, it's really okay.
But
I just realized I forgot a really important song in my playlist. Should have had some Bon Jovi. We're halfway there, friends. We're halfway there. So we are at exactly 45 minutes in. Do we need a short break?
Yeah, give me a short.
Okay, all right, we're gonna power through. All right. So you heard it here first. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Okay, so let's kind of talk about the conversations that you had based on the questions on the card. We'll start with a feeling question. How did this activity make you feel? Okay. Connected.
I think just not shared memories, but memories of the same things, even if we're different generations, that kind of connect us from childhood or things that we remember.
Yeah.
Like, or no, one perspective is a historical event that had a lot of impact on your life and all of the same one. Just being able to talk about where we were and what we were doing at the time. But it happened.
Yeah. I don't know if it was this year, you think of like K-12 students. Might have been this year that none of those, youth that have been in the schools.
It was like 4 years
It was like
ago.
6 years ago, because my brother is 18. We were 27.
Yeah, so just knowing that because we spend a lot of time talking about it in the media and in culture, that a lot of these youth don't understand. It's kind of one of those things where you had to be there, and in the moment, do they not appreciate? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying, but like just not having that experience of being somewhere and remembering where you were when it happened is just so interesting. So, go ahead.
I think also running out of toilet paper.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Around March 2020, I think is when that comes with 20 other county directors, we talked a lot about nostalgia. And, you know, just that moment where you're like, oh, I think I told a story about my sister who threw a plastic plate school hammer and gave me a black eye when I was in preschool. And my mom didn't find out about it until I got married. Because my sister had me so scared that if I told my mom was gonna be really mad at me for letting it happen. So I never disclosed that little tidbit of information. But, you know, and like somebody else mentioned, it was that feeling of connectivity, but then also looking at, you know, I talked with a colleague, she grew up in a rural area, I grew up in a rural area, but we still had some different experiences too to take into account. So we're going to talk a little bit more. Does anybody else have anything they want to add on the activity? I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful to kind of think about generational differences. And I'm going to flip to the side and I'm going to tell you, like, it's a lot of words too. I don't really like a lot of words, but I wanted to capture it. Like, if we talk about baby boomers and we talk about them valuing loyalty, well, I'll tell you right now, I'm not a boomer, but I value loyalty a lot. And so there are parts, and it's based on, you know, how we were raised and what experiences you had. So, like I said, we're gonna talk about tenets and traits. It's really gonna sound like stereotypes, but that's not what I mean at all. Prefer face-to-face communication. You'll see that across generations as well. I prefer picking up the phone and talking to somebody on the phone than sending an email any day. Generation X is going to be that independent, value work-life balance and prefer email communication. So I'm on the cusp, I'll disclose this, I'm on the cusp of Generation X and millennials. So I kind of feel that balance there. Your millennials are going to be tech savvy, they value feedback and development and prefer digital communication, so that text messaging, instant messaging. Generation Z are those digital natives, so they don't know what it's like to be without the internet. And it's funny to have these conversations, especially when I was still in the classroom teaching and trying to explain to the youth I had in my classroom that there was once a time when you couldn't text somebody, they had to actually like pick up the phone, and then you had to wait until a certain hour to call, because if you called too early, mom and dad were gonna get mad because they're gonna get the phone bill 3 weeks later and see that you called before, before peak time was over. And then that Generation Alpha, and you're like, Katie, why are we talking about Generation Alpha? Generation Alpha is 14 years old right now. I know that because I'm raising 2 Generation Alphas, and they're going to be joining our workforce potentially in 2 years at 16, maybe even 15 if they get a work permit. And so just understanding those dynamics too. And it's hard for us really to describe what it's going to be like for them to join the workforce because we don't have a whole lot of research yet because they're not in the workforce yet. But they're being raised in a world that fully encapsulates technology and that instant feedback, instant information. You know, they want things quick and they want it now. Like I said, I live in a household with 2 of them. But I think it's just interesting to kind of keep these things in mind. Like I said, it's not all encompassing. It's not true for everybody. It's kind of like a spectrum, really, is a good way to think about it. I have staff in the top 4. So I have 30 staff on my team. I only supervise part of them, but it's interesting to watch the dynamics and see how they connect and how they engage with each other. And so this is a work in progress for my organization and getting them to see the differences and how to understand how we can incorporate all that in the work we do. Any questions on generations, traits, and trends? And you know, while you guys were doing your activity, I did look around, I'm like, that's why there's a clock there, because there's no other clock around. And I kind of like kept it to the side so you guys can't see. Because I know you're not all wearing watches or headphones, right? Oh, we got another poll. Do you believe that generational differences impact internal customer service at the library? I gave you lots of choices. I'm gonna make this one a surprise, so you won't see it until I flip to the next slide. The suspense, I know, is killing you all. I really do try to have fun and laugh when I present. I hope you guys find it as amusing as I do. All right, I'm gonna show you the results.
What about book one? I know, I'm just supposed to do that. Let's see if it works. It does.
At least nobody disagreed. I don't know how I'd address that. And it's okay if you did and it didn't go through. But yeah, it's definitely gonna impact. And it's a lot of it, when we talk about generational, it's a lot about experiences and even perspectives too. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the slides to come. So these next two slides are gonna look eerily similar, because we're gonna talk about providing exceptional internal customer service. And I do have to look at my notes for this so I don't go on any tangents and we're here about 30 minutes longer than we need to be. So when we're talking about effective communication, it's important to kind of understand and read people. You know, people react to different things and communicate differently, and it's important that we pay attention to the needs and concerns of our colleagues. We want to ensure that information is shared clearly to avoid misunderstandings. Talk a lot with my team and communication, and the next slide actually goes into a little bit more, but it's really important that if there's any questions about what somebody said or something you perceived that they said, because we have that conversation too, a lot about perception and reality, which goes way back, because I used to have that conversation with my students as well, because they'd be like, Mrs. Buckley, you yelled at, and I'm like, I did not yell. I yell at my kids. I haven't yelled at my students. And then thinking more about that collaboration and teamwork, the thing that makes this library so great is all of the parts. If you think about a cogwheel and gears, not a fancy word, gears, cogwheel's a little more fun to say. Think about how that works. That's kind of your organization as a whole, and each department is a cogwheel, and if we took out one of those cogwheels or gears, it wouldn't run, right? Like something wouldn't turn and things would go around. So you have to really think about that collaboration and teamwork, and then think about how other people can help you do the best job you can. Professionalism and respect. You know, we want to treat everybody with respect and understand there are going to be times where not everybody's going to agree. As much as I would like it to be rainbows and roses, it doesn't happen, but understanding how to bring those disagreements forward and then come to an understanding of what's going to happen from there. I talk a lot about that topic to my staff too. I like to make decisions as a group and as a team, but ultimately at the end of the day, I have to make that final decision based on the needs of my organization. Empathy and understanding is critical. You know, we all come to work every day for full-time, part-time, maybe every couple days, but we don't know when a colleague walks through the door what their experience has been between when they woke up that morning and when they walked in that door to work. So not that you have to walk on eggshells and always be amped up about the feelings of others, but recognize that if somebody looks like that maybe they're not having a great day, that maybe something happened in that transition period, and have empathy and understanding for your colleagues. And then finally, that continuous improvement piece, you know. Feedback can be difficult sometimes, right? Especially feedback that is perceived as negative. I think the quote goes, feedback is a gift, but not everybody wants to receive it. So, but think about ways that you can always improve and always get better and be able to take that feedback from others. Oh, what is your preferred method of communication for internal matters? Do you guys have an internal messaging system? Teams, use Teams?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love the emojis in Teams, especially the one where there's eyes and then there's a cloud around them. I use that one all the time. And they're like, what are you saying, Katie? And I'm like, I don't know. My head's in the clouds. Since I've already got a good number of respondents right now, if anybody picked other, I'm gonna call you out, you're gonna have to tell me what that other is. I'm curious. Wouldn't it be funny if everybody picked other? That would be really hilarious. I almost allowed multiple answers, but then I was like, no, we preferred. It's number one. All right. See what it said? Oh, I had 3% other. Okay, so you other people, what does that look like? Whatever gets the job done. Okay, all right. Email. A lot of you like email. I get really, and it's probably, like I reread emails like 8 times before I press send, because I'm like, I try to anticipate, this is a struggle I have. I try to anticipate how the other person's gonna react, which is virtually impossible, right? And so I mean, there's times where I send emails because it's a draft, like, you asked me for this, and I'm sending you an attachment. Like, there's nothing in there, but like if I have to schedule meetings that are hard conversations, I'd much rather do that over the phone than an email or a meeting invite. Yes.
If it's a short, I'm telling you something, email, all the way. But if it's gonna require back and forth, I'm sending an email, you're sending an email, I'm sending another email. Why don't we just meet for 5 minutes and get it out there?
Yeah, and so I do that a lot with grants and contracts. I'm like, this is gonna be like 8 emails, let's just talk this out. And my fiscal, when I'm like, hey, I saw this on my budget, can we talk about this? That and I work within an organization that gets FOIA'd a lot too. And so sometimes we have to be careful, not that we're hiding anything, but just conscientious of what we put in emails as well. All right, so that internal customer service and communication piece. So that clarity and understanding. I think part of that is we need to assume good intent. And we all know what assuming does, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah. So I say that and then I laugh, but it's true. Like, if somebody comes to you and tells you something, try to assume they're doing it with good intentions. That they're trying to help out, or they want to give you some feedback, that it's not ill. Now, are there times where you're going to have that person that is just always not going to have good intent? Possibly, but I think if we at least start with that, and then over time we can make our own judgment, that's really important too. Again, that collaboration and teamwork, as it relates to communication, you want to make sure those lines of communication are open. I don't know how often you do team projects here, but make sure that you have touch points set up, that you're communicating either by email or instant message, and that you're making sure you're meeting the needs of your team too. So There were a lot of you that like email, that as your preferred method. Just kind of keep into consideration, there's some other areas too that you might need to take into account. Problem solving, man, I hate to say how many times I'll go into somebody's office and I'll be like, look, I've got this situation. What's your perspective, or how can you help me solve this problem? I learned early on in leadership, I can't solve all the problems. I don't have nearly enough time. So I depend a lot on my team. And I've gotten to know my team well enough that I know who to go to in certain situations. It's going to give not good, but just general feedback on problem solving in different situations. Employee morale and engagement. You want to be transparent and respectful. I'm very transparent with my staff. I care deeply about my staff. I tell them that, and I tell them that, and I tell them that, but there's some times where I feel like they just don't trust me 100%. And so I know that by being transparent and being honest with my staff that we'll continue to build that relationship, and hopefully we get there. And then again, that feedback and improvement, make sure we're communicating that in a clear, kind way. Do I have any Brene Brown fans? Anybody reads Brene Brown? You know what the next quote's gonna be? Anybody? Clear is kind, unclear is unkind. And I use this with my 11-year-old. He's smart, and you're like, oh, every parent says their kid's smart, and yeah. But he struggles with emotions. I tend to refer to him as an empath, so he takes on the feelings and emotions of others. But he came to me, and he's like, Mom, my teacher is so mean. I'm like, I used to work with your teacher. Like, no, I don't get that vibe. And he's like, yeah, she's just so mean to us. And I'm like, okay. So I call my sister, because my sister communicates better with my son than I do. She's a behavioral specialist. And so I'm like, hey, can you have this conversation? And this is what she uses. Clear is kind. Clear is kind. She's setting the expectations. She wants you to know what she expects of you. And if you do that, you'll be fine. And now I ask him, I'm like, how's school today? Oh, it was great. I really like my teacher. And so it's just that understanding of being clear, and that wasn't something he's always had, and the transition can sometimes be hard. But definitely check out Brene Brown if you haven't. If you don't want to read books, she does a lot of podcasts and TED Talks that are also really empowering to listen to as well. I think we're going to be perfect on time. I was getting a little nervous there. We're going to do the last activity, but before we get started, did I miss any departments? Where do teens fall? Okay, all right. Because I was like, I spend a lot of time sitting in the teen department because my 13-year-old can't be alone in a public space. I don't understand it. So I have to sit and wait for her to choose her books before I can move on throughout the library. But okay, good. So looks good. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give you instructions and then we can move. We're going to get in our departments. Do we have at least more than one person in each department here represented? Okay, so no Lone Rangers. So I've got a fresh set of Post-it notes for you. So each department will take a large Post-it. I also brought fun colors of little Post-it notes if you want to use that. On your poster, I've got lots of colored markers. Markers I'd like back, pens you can keep. And what you're going to do is you're going to map out the dependencies between departments and how you could improve your internal customer service. So, I'm not going to give you a whole lot of more instructions past that. Think of it kind of like an infographic. So you're going to look at your department as being the central part, right? And then how the other departments around you interact with your department. and then we're gonna post these around the room, and then we're gonna have a gallery tour where we can look at everybody's poster. Yeah, so you ready, set, go.
Go get a